Hello everybody, it is me, Pacific. I wanted to talk about America's obesity problem. The reason is, I believe we're the #1 nation in the world with obese problem. I don't know what the percentages are, but I want to share some personal thoughts. Now, before I get going, I am not on a hate campaign against obese people. But we have a problem. And I'm going to discuss some of that stuff. I realize I'm slender, I have a high metabolism, and I have some things in my favor. But I also work my butt off. I may spend a lot of time in front of the computer when I'm off, but when I work hard, I work hard. Everything I do is with tremendous energy and speed. I've noticed something in America when I was growing up. When I was in school, the guys and the gals that were overweight, and I mean hugely overweight, they were kind of social outcasts. Sadly today, they've become mainstream. And boy, have they got an attitude. I see it at work. I see it with relatives of mine that were married, spouses that were quite large. And instead of people confronting the problem and making changes, they've become lazy. They've given up, and they go to their comfort food addiction. And what's ironic is virtually all of the heavy people that I know, they're just not very nice folks. And it gives way to more selfish behavior, more attitude. You see it on the date sites with Craigslist. Anybody can jump on Craigslist. And a lot of heavy women, they want a boyfriend so bad. But then you read their profiles and they say, I'm a little bit curvy, and if you don't like that, move on. Attitude right there. Hey males, you gotta accept me. But I have my bucket list for you. And if you don't measure up, I'm not going to pick you. Excuse me. I'm tired of the obesity problem. I'm tired of a bunch of people in our country, most of which boils down to laziness and selfishness. I want what I want to do. I want to be a pig, and if you don't like it, too bad. That number is growing larger and larger and larger. Never mind the fact that you've got cholesterol issues, heart issues, all kinds of medical issues, and all that extra weight you're carrying around isn't good for your joints, your physique, body, and all of that weighs on your attitude. And I'm sorry. I've heard enough people tell me that used to be heavy, that lost it, so that I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror. Why am I talking about this? Because the obese crowd is affecting people like me. They're rude, they're pushy, they got attitude, they block the whole aisle, you can't get around them. You say excuse me and they give you the dirty look. I kept wondering, how come all these obese people are so rude and so foul and so loudmouthed and drama? And I still can't answer that, except to say that some of my observations have been, if you can't discipline yourself in this area, why are you going to discipline yourself anywhere else and have class? Something that's also disappearing in our lovely culture called America. I do got a problem with obesity. It is not attractive. It is just not my thing. And I realize there are viewers that say, well, I love BBWs. Well, great. That's great. I don't believe in picking twiggy girlfriends. I'm not into the anorexic Hollywood so-called standard of what a woman ought to look like. But my gosh, people, let's get a grip. It may not be able to help the way your face is shaped and certain things that are unique to you, but you can definitely control your weight. And you can definitely keep from being anorexic. So there's two ends of the pendulum. I've tried to be open-minded over the years. But as more time goes by, there's very few obese people that I feel comfortable with and like. And I have a handful that are very kind women to me. I don't browbeat them. I don't bring these issues up. People got to do what they got to do. People got to make the choices from this, the heart. I try to accept people. I will tell you something, obese women. Don't expect me to be attracted to you. And maybe you don't care. I know I'll get a plethora of comments. Remember, your comments have to meet my approval before they're posted, so think about what you're saying, ladies. And that goes for the men, too. You want to be 400 pounds. Don't leave me a bunch of hate mail just because I'm standing up saying, I don't like it. I have a right. I have a preference just as you have a preference when you put it on your little post wanting men to be this, 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 and this. My requirements for a woman are really quite simple. They're not what I would call picky, but I do have preferences. One, she takes care of herself, that she's clean, that she's responsible, that she's not a feminist, that she's not a liberal, that she's not irrational and operates strictly on emotion and goes blah over every little thing, which I see heavy people do all the time. They live on emotion. And the reason is, when you can't discipline your body to eat properly and take care of your body, everything else goes out the window. Attitude, manners, having self-control. When somebody offends you, their first reaction is, oh my gosh. There is a direct connection between gluttony and a lack of self-control, and a lack of manners, and a lack of class, and a lack of anything of quality. Goes hand in glove. Goes hand in glove. Now, I'm not here to say I'm Don Juan. I'm not. But I know one thing. This is the way I was made. And I take care of it. It's like if you have a classic car. You let it rust and rot out, let the brakes go, and let everything go. And the driver could run around and say, it's really a great car. Yeah. Until you start wearing metal to metal and you can't stop. It's nighttime. A little tired, but I had to comment on this. I think obese people need to take a look at themselves and ask, what is there about me to love? If I don't have the discipline to take care of this, why am I going to be disciplined in any other area? And why are you putting requirements on what you want in a boyfriend, but you don't seem to put any on yourself? I just am being inundated with our culture getting more and more obese, and us being forced to accept it. And another dynamic's happening. One of my lady friends said that the overweight people are very rude to her. She's small, she's very slender, she's Asian. And I said to her, I said, you got to understand why this is happening. They're not going to feel comfortable hanging around with us because we're slender. We take care of ourselves. We carry ourselves different. They're not going to feel comfortable around us. So the only way they can deal with that is to put us down, talk behind our backs, and let us have it. I watch it all the time in my workplace and many workplaces that I've worked at where there's obese women. They're drama. They're trouble. They're rude. 9 times out of 10. Disclaimer, listen up, because people always write me, you're generalizing all. Did you hear what I said? Not every single obese woman or man is like this. It seems to fall more into the female camp, though, with the drama, the attitude, and the flashpoint of erupting into a fuss, more than males. Most overweight males that I know are pretty docile, pretty laid back, and they don't seem to get too rattled. But you get a bunch of obese women, and they get offended, real or imagined, and it is just volcanic. You know, I'm sorry, ladies, if you can't discipline yourself to stop eating ho-hos and McDonald's and being pigs, and you want us to accept that, just like the gays want us to accept their lifestyle, just like gangs like to tell everybody, you need to respect. Well, guess what, homie? When you don't respect us, don't expect us to respect you. You shoot up the neighborhoods and play rap music and thump, thump, thump our walls and our homes. That isn't respecting, brother. And I got a problem with that. I got a problem with any group of people not being mannerly, not being kind, and not caring about other folks except only themselves. And that is a problem in our culture today. Most people today, it's all about me. And that's why we have the problems we do. The older I get, I'm learning it's really quite simple. When people become inward focused, the outward problems in society manifest themselves even more. When people used to hold each other accountable and communities cared and families cared, people were slender, people had manners, people behaved, there was less gangs. I think it's kind of funny. Everybody thinks that we're evolving and I have to laugh. Do you really seriously believe in evolution, that we're evolving? I'm looking at what we're doing in our American society. We're not evolving. We're going down every day towards the proverbial toilet bowl. Look at profanity in the last few years. Look at rock music and how it's just descending more and more into the abyss. Movies and music and literature. Class and classy is disappearing quick from our landscape. Why is that? Because we want to be entertained. We want to feed our lusts, whether it's food, sex, drugs. We want to feel good. We want to cater to our feelings and our emotions. I've done it. I've done it. We all do it. But if you don't discipline yourself and somebody comes along and says, you know what, I'm not into that, before you get offended, just sit there and go, why should they be? If I've got an addictive problem, why should I run around saying, you need to accept me the way I am? I think it's funny. A lot of women complain about their husbands drinking or their husbands obsessing over this or that. But a lot of women have a problem with shopping, running up credit card debts, getting obese, or being obsessed with anorexic. I dated a girl whose mother was judging everybody around her. She's an alcoholic and anorexic. I laugh. What is it about American women? They just blast everybody out there, and then you get to know them, and you're going, wait a minute now. You are hardly an example. And you're putting down some good people. I see this all the time. I see women acting so mature, and then you see them get in their car. Monsters. Monsters. I don't like obesity. I think it's disgusting. And I think that people need to start disciplining themselves and doing something about it. Do we expect you to look like a 10? Of course not. But my gosh, people, to lose weight and to keep that weight off, I think that's doable. Just like I have to get rid of bad habits in my own life. And I have mine too. I've discussed them in other videos. We all have problems that we got to work on. But the Obese Club of America, please stop demanding we accept you when you're rude, offensive, loud, drama, emotionally charged and obnoxious, and pardon me, but look kind of disgusting. If that offends you, hey man, I got a right to speak my mind too. I don't hate, but I'm getting kind of tired of us having to stomach all this stuff. That's why Pacific speaks out on his videos, because I do have something to say. I hear this junk all the time. It's time that somebody else stands up and says, hold it, stop the bus. Let me put out what I believe. Viewers, thank you for listening. And this is Pacific signing off. Bye-bye.